Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill-Staxx, and today I got Robert Borrielli.
And it happened to be a Wise Guys Diner. So,
Oh, man.
yes, and I didn't know it at that time.
Yeah.
I just stood out that night, went to another after hour joint after that, didn't go home, and then finally somebody got word to me, don't go home, and I didn't go home for a couple of days until they squashed it, and yeah.
So was there anyone that would sit you down and explain the rules to you? Was there people to do that?
I use it in when I preach and also when I share my testimony in churches and other events that I do, and I call it about discipleship. I wish that we had more people in the church doing that kind of discipleship that Nicky Carrazzo did with me. Nicky Carrazzo took me under his wing. He hid me out for about a year before I got locked up. I was about 19 years old. Then I got locked up when I was 20. And he schooled me, and he would spend time with me. I would drive his car wherever he would go. I would drive him around, so I was really close with him. And he schooled me. He would walk around the block numerous times, just schooling me about that lifestyle. I wasn't too big with. I wasn't too big with. My dog is chewing up my furniture. I wasn't too big with the politics of that lifestyle. I really wasn't. But he would try to school me and teach me. And like I said, I like to see a lot of pastors be doing that there with some of these kids because that's what we need. We need to be disciples. We need to show people. The old saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. He put a lot of time in with me. And I know that I disappoint him later on in life when I got caught up with the drugs and stuff like that. I think my biggest downfall in that lifestyle was trying to create my own crew and walking away from him in a sense and trying to emulate everything that he showed me to do. So anyway.
Yeah. So I mean that probably with all the information that you're getting from him, I mean it builds you into a better criminal, right?
Oh, without a doubt. The funny thing is that sometimes I would talk to guys who were maybe a little bit more involved in that lifestyle than I was as a kid, and they would go back to Nicky and say, when I was speaking to Rob, it was like I was talking to you.
Oh, because he told you so much.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, that would be good if the churches can do that, where they see the Jesus in us. It's like when we speak, they can see Jesus, So,
yeah. Oh, so he was really telling you how it was supposed to be. Like,
oh yeah.
Don't talk to the police, all that.
The story would be, and I don't know how funny it would be, is that when I was with him, he brought me to his apartment. He didn't have a house at that time. He had an apartment with his wife and kids, and he had a card, and the card said, "You are now a member of the mafia." Now it wasn't true. And then he gave me a blue sapphire pinky ring. And I was like 20 years old. It really went to my head, what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, wear the ring.
I carried the card with me a little, for a while. And then I realized, well, that doesn't make you a member. But anyway, it was kind of cool that he did that for me, with me.
So was there other big name people that you've met along your way?
Oh, I met a lot of big names from different families. I was paraded around by Nicky and Lenny and as the up-and-coming star, the Gambino crime family. Even though I couldn't get straightened out, but they would parade me around. So I stayed in the Raven Eye Club almost every day. From there, I would go and work the crack game, come back to the Raven Eye Club, and O'Neill Delo Gross and Charlie West. They got close with Charlie West was a captain. O'Neill was the underboss at the time. They really liked me. They liked my, I was very charismatic, so to speak. And people just took a liking to me. Joe Butch. I can go for a lot of names of big-time guys that really were impressed by me, and I was impressed by them also.
Can you tell me about the first time you ever met John Gotti?
Well, John Gotti, I knew when I was a kid. I didn't meet Johnny himself, but his brother Vinny was about a year or 2 years older than me, and we were part of the F&R gang together. So Gene Gotti, I knew Gene Gotti. Johnny was already a little bit older than me and my sisters. So Gene used to hang out with my sister Betty, who was about 8 years older. I think Gene's got me by about 8 years, if I'm not mistaken. So he was either 6 or 8 years older than I am, if I'm not mistaken. So I knew about Jeannie. Jeannie was the first one that I got impressed with. And I'll never forget it. I was in the social club on Fulton Street. Nobody was there. And Jeannie came in. Now, Jeannie, I remember exactly. He had a Buick Electra, 225, I believe it was, brand new. It was beige, brown and beige. He had on a brown Italian knit, brown sharkskin pants, brown blue suede shoes. He walked in the back. He had a stack of hundreds. He said, "Where is everybody?" I said, "I don't know. I'm just hanging out here." Threw it up in the air. I thought I was going to get some of it. I didn't get any of it. He went and picked it all up and put it back in his pocket. So that was the first impression that I got of Jeannie. So me and Jeannie, when I was younger, hanging out in that club, clicked off pretty good. And he would bring me to his brother's club that was on 101st Avenue, Bergen and Hunting Fishing Club, something like that. I forget the name of it, but on 101st Avenue. So he was the first one I was really impressed with, was Gene Gotti.
So I know there's probably a ton of situations that you've been in your life, but have you ever been in a situation where you were kind of worried that maybe things weren't going to go your way?
Probably most of my life. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to say it. I was what they would call, and Johnny Eli even used the same term that they used on him, a loose cannon. I remember one time some young kid got shot up. John Gotti was going to he had this big thing on 101st Avenue. It was kind of like a bazaar kind of thing, a feast on 101st Avenue. And he knew about me. I think we knew each other, but I wasn't close with them. I was with Nicky and them, which was kind of the other side of the street at that point in time, same family though. And he sent for me with a whole bunch of guys to call me because he heard that I was going to shoot up the neighborhood, and that wasn't true or anything like that. So I had 2 guns on me when they approached me, and they asked me to give them my guns. And I said, "I ain't giving you my guns. What am I look like an idiot?" And they said, "Johnny wants to see me." But I knew, I was smart enough to know, well, if Johnny wants to see me, then he needs to go through Nicky, and then I'll see him with Nicky. And that got squashed after that. But that's about the extent. I mean, there's a lot of times that I went, it's in the book that I wrote, that I was at the crap game, and one of the guys had to leave who did the bankroll, and they gave me the money at the end, and I went to the racetrack and lost almost all the money, and I was supposed to bring it to the game that day.
How much was it?
Probably about $10,000. So I lost it in like 5 races. I hold a couple of hundred for runaway money. So I took off on the lam. I know that's like a death sentence. You don't mess with their money. But Nicky and them covered up for me and told them that I got arrested, and my mom didn't know what the money, so they made good, and they brought the money to them, and then I had to pay them back. So
yeah. Oh, so you had some pretty powerful guys in your corner.
Oh yeah, without
yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So do you remember?
Charlie West loved me too, so he would have took my side at that point in time.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty crazy, man. Yeah. So have you ever had a situation where a wise guy's wife or girlfriend either tried to mess with you behind their back, or have you seen it where a wife or a girlfriend is messing with someone else and the guy gets in trouble for it?
Well, that's one thing I learned from an early point that Nicky taught me right away. You don't mess around with somebody's wife or somebody's girlfriend. You just didn't do it. And matter of fact, there's one time that I got into a fight because it was an old friend of mine that I knew before this guy was going out with her, and she was at an after-hour joint talking to me, and he got upset, hit me in the eye with a glass. I went after him, and Fat Andy happened to be there, and they got squashed right there. There was no more fighting or anything like that. Matter of fact, that's how I got arrested, because I went to Nicky and them and told them about the story. And Nicky said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "I want to kill him," because he embarrassed me in front of everybody. So he said, "Okay, you're probably going to get us both killed, but if that's what you want to do, go and do it." So I laid outside the club, hoping that he was still there, and I must have passed out the wheel because I was drunk. and cop came and locked me up, and that's how I got locked up for possession of a weapon. And then
Oh.
I went back to court. When I went back to court, they arrested me for the 2 murder cases.
Wow.
That was back in December of '75.
So when you get arrested for the murder cases, are you thinking like, damn, my life is over? Are you like, what's going through your head when this is happening?
Well, I thought I beat the case. If I got a good, there's one thing I was taught: you get a good lawyer, you can get around these cases. You know what I mean? And then I really trusted the guys that, like Nicky and them, to take care of certain things for me. I'll tell you a story, and the government knows about it now. But there was 5 eyewitnesses against me on one of the cases. Now, I didn't do the murder, but they knew my face, and it was in an after hour. It was in a nightclub. It was called the Broadcasters Inn. But they recognized my face. So when I got locked up for the gun, they said that's the guy. But the gun wasn't used for it, and that's not the one that I did. And I gave them all a couple of $1,000 a piece not to show up, but they all showed up anyway.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of like, that's kind of like where I was. I thought there was always a way that we could get around these type of cases. And then, I knew that certain lawyers knew certain judges. So, I was a little bit, but that was the life, So, whatever way it went, I think that's what gave me so much credibility in that lifestyle is that, I could have said all the guys that were involved in that fight and they did some shootings, and I could have gave up the person that did it, but I didn't. I took the weight and went to trial and beat the case. So I think that impressed them a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. So wow, that's pretty crazy, man. Situations like that. So when you got arrested for those 2 charges, was the government trying to persuade you to talk to them?
There were state cases.
Oh, they were state.
There were state cases, yeah. Queens County.